What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about GoFest and whether or not you should purchase a ticket. We'll talk about everything that has been made public to us as far as the information is concerned, but we'll also be adding a speculative portion of this to talk about the Pokemon that could potentially be highlighted for the event. If you do enjoy this video and it is helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, but let's actually go ahead and jump into it. So first things first, this event is going to be broken down into 2 different days, and if you just purchase the ticket, you're going to have access to both days. And something kind of interesting is that as far as the days are concerned, it's going to be 10 hours for both days. So you are getting 20 hours of action, 20 hours of many things that are going to be happening in this game. So a lot of time invested into it if you are interested in doing so. So anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at day number 1. There's going to end up being special research, and the way for you to access it is to simply open up the app during this time of the event. You can actually end up completing it whenever you want though. Maybe it ends up doing something like raid this many Pokemon, do this many things, and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do that today. That won't be a problem at all. You simply have to open up the app to access it, and that's going to actually happen on the second day, but we'll of course cover that later. So anyways, there's going to end up being 5 of habitats where they are going to end up rotating every hour. 5 habitats rotate every hour. There's 10 hours in total, so you're going to end up seeing these different types of habitats featured twice throughout the day. And the interesting thing about this is, in the past, when we talk about a habitat, it's mostly referring to a Pokemon's typing. Maybe the fire type, maybe the grass, maybe the ice, something like that. But in this particular case, I thought it was interesting that they mentioned battle as well as friendship as a habitat. That is very interesting and something that we have not really seen before, so I'm curious to see exactly what is going to happen with that. I think battle makes sense if you were talking about Pokemon that are just good at PvP, regardless of their typing, but friendship, who knows? I'm crossing my fingers. I'm really hoping it has something to do with best buddies and being able to access that quicker. Maybe you can get some type of accelerated rate. So if you've got Pokemon ready for the Master League, you can go ahead and do that so you can get that best buddy boost. I'm speculating, but I do think that makes a lot of sense. So regardless of that, throughout the entire time, there's also going to be challenges as well that's going to end up happening. And it mentioned that there's going to be challenges each hour. And then, of course, if we can complete those challenges, we're going to end up earning a bonus for the remaining hours, which means by the end of the event, rolling into that 10th hour, that's where the most bonuses are going to end up stacking, since they can, of course, accumulate from the previous hour. So that's definitely going to be pretty cool. And then the last thing that we have mentioned for day 1 is the specific mention of over 75 Pokemon species being found in the wild, in raids, and from special research tasks. That is a lot of Pokemon. Now keep that in mind, 75 individual Pokemon, not even necessarily the different families, right? I mean, we could end up having access to hundreds of Pokemon just by evolving some of these and stuff. So definitely a wide variety of Pokemon, which I think a lot of people are going to end up being excited about. Now we can, of course, get into day 2, and I feel like this needs to be its own speculative video because day 2 is very mysterious. It's very held back as to what exactly is going to happen during this day. The only thing that we haven't mentioned as far as the text is concerned is that trainers will enjoy something different, but we don't necessarily know what that is exactly. And then finally, we are seeing that there's going to end up being a surprise. So once again, just a lot of cryptic messaging. There's going to be something special happening on day 2, and there's also going to be a secondary special research that I already mentioned before. You just simply have to open up the game during that second day, and then you will get that special research automatically and can complete it anytime that you want. So beyond talking about everything that was made officially to us, one other thing that I wanted to mention was just the idea of the graphics in general. In the past, these graphics where it features the different Pokemon has truly been a meaningful experience for what exactly is going to happen with this event. So if we take a look at the graphic, we can see that there are a couple of Pokemon that I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about. We've got an Unknown here, and then up next we've got a Gible in the background. Gibble's just going to be fun. Number 1, if it spawns, I would love to get myself some of that Gible candy, of course, for Garchomp. And then secondly, just having a chance at a shiny is going to be an amazing opportunity that I think a lot of people are going to be excited about. And then the third and final Pokemon that I think is honestly one of the more interesting ones is Snorlax. So if you've played the game long enough, you will remember that we ended up having a sleeping Snorlax show up in the game, show up on the map, and it was something that was pretty cool. That is something that could be incorporated into this event, but I think that it would be safe to assume that, ladies and gentlemen, what we could end up seeing here is actually a shiny Snorlax being released into the game, as this being the launch of all of that. Is it going to be just a regular Snorlax though? I honestly think it could be very possible that it ends up being the sleeping Snorlax. That could just be so cool to be able to see that. But regardless, we're going to end up getting ourselves access to a shiny Snorlax. Of course, that is speculation, but the fact that it is featured in the event, I think it would just make so much sense to go ahead and release the shiny. That way it ends up being something new. But anyways, we've been talking about this. I think it's time for me to go ahead and make the decision. So honestly, this ended up being a no-brainer. This was something that I've been excited about attending. I plan on attending it anyways, regardless of whether we were doing it from home or in person. But at least this way, you get to save a lot of money on it, not having to deal with a hotel, not having to deal with travel, not having to deal with paying for food, anything like that. The event itself is going to be amazing, especially if you're able to do it from home. You can even go ahead and add it to your calendar, which is pretty cool to be able to do that. That way you don't end up forgetting about it, but as you know, I'll definitely end up reminding you as we get closer, might even live stream the event. Anyways, I would love to know if you ended up purchasing this ticket, or if you decided not to. Let me know in the comment section below why or why not, and I will see you next time. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.